You know, for almost 100 years, one book has pretty much been the Bible of the self-help world. It promises a secret formula for getting rich and finding success. I'm talking, of course, about Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. It's inspired millions. But here's the thing. In a world now driven by data and science, do its secrets actually hold up?
This right here, this is the core promise. It's the idea that got millions of people hooked. It's incredibly powerful, right? The notion that the only thing holding you back is your own imagination and your own belief. So, the big question is it really that simple? Can you just think your way to the top? Today, we're putting that idea to the test. We're going to look at Hill's biggest ideas and stack them up against the real, evidence-based strategies that world champions and top executives are using right now.
To really get a handle on its impact, we need to go back to the beginning. Where did this massively influential book even come from?
The story kicks off in the early 1900s. Imagine this. Andrew Carnegie, one of the richest men on the planet, basically gives a young journalist named Napoleon Hill a 20-year assignment. His mission? Interview the giants of the era, people like Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, and figure out what made them tick. What came out of it in 1937 was Think and Grow Rich, and it became this global phenomenon that today is right at the center of this huge debate between old-school philosophy and modern science.
So let's start with one of Hill's most famous concepts, an idea he called the mastermind.
For Napoleon Hill, the mastermind was way more than just good teamwork. He saw it as this harmonious alliance of minds, all focused on one single goal. The idea is that when you truly align with other people who get your vision, you create this third mind, this collective power that is way, way bigger than anything you could do on your own.
And this quote just nails his belief. You don't achieve great things in a vacuum. It's almost never a solo mission. But the real question is, does this philosophical idea have a real-world counterpart in today's high-performance culture?
What if I told you that this number, 85%, is the key, and that one of the most dominant sports teams in modern history built their entire championship culture around a modern version of this very principle? This was their winning percentage over 8 years.
That 85% belongs to the New Zealand All Blacks. They're one of the most successful pro sports teams, period. And their secret sauce wasn't just about having the best players. It was about a completely radical way of thinking about leadership and culture. And when you look at how they built their success, it is fascinating. They had a mantra, better people make better All Blacks. It was all about character first. And their dual management model? That's basically a modern mastermind, where the players and coaches had shared ownership of the team's culture and strategy. What this did was create an environment that wasn't about just following orders. It was about fostering choice and initiative. And hey, don't take my word for it. The head coach himself said it. The real power came from spreading the leadership out, not keeping it all at the top. It sounds an awful lot like Hill's mastermind, right? But with structure, with intention, and with science to back it up.
Okay, so that's how elite teams work. But what about for individuals? Well, today's top executives and leaders don't just sit around thinking their way to success. They use structured, evidence-based performance coaching.
And the data here is pretty striking. I mean, check this out. One major study found that 86% of companies actually see a positive return on their investment from coaching. But look at the impact on individuals. 70% report real, tangible improvements in their performance and how they communicate. This isn't just fluffy theory. It's a process with measurable results. So let's make this real. Imagine a talented senior leader who, after a big company shakeup, is just completely overwhelmed and lost. In Hill's terms, you could say they've lost their definition of purpose. The clarity is just gone. So the coaching strategy wasn't just about positive thinking. It was a concrete, step-by-step plan. First, reframe the job from just managing tasks to being a strategic leader. Second, put clear delegation systems in place to stop the feeling of being overwhelmed. And third, develop actual strategies to get the teams all pulling in the same direction. This is the science part in action. And the result, in the leader's own words, was a total turnaround. That process gave them the structure and clarity they needed to get back in control and actually lead. Now let's tackle a different problem, one that I'm sure a lot of you can relate to: burnout. We've got a super successful executive, but all that success is coming at a huge personal cost. Their relationships are strained, their well-being is shot. In this case, the coaching strategy was all about looking inward. The coach worked with them to figure out their core values, to draw some healthy lines between work and personal life, and to build a real, actionable plan for the long haul. And the outcome? It was totally measurable.
The executive managed to cut their evening and weekend work by 40%. And the crazy part? They were still hitting all their goals, and their stakeholders were even happier. That's a powerful, data-driven result. So what happens when we put Napoleon Hill's old-school secrets right next to today's performance science?
This is really where it all comes together. What we see is an evolution. Hill's mastermind idea, it becomes a structured dual management system like the All Blacks use. His burning desire, we now refine that into clear goals that are actually aligned with your personal values. That vague idea of belief and faith, it's replaced by creating an autonomy-supportive climate that empowers people to act. And definiteness of purpose evolves into structured reflection and accountability. The core ideas are there, but now they're backed by process and science.
So look, this isn't about saying Think and Grow Rich is wrong. Not at all. Hill was a pioneer. But the crucial thing to get is that in the 100 years since he wrote that book, we've developed a science of achievement. We now have proven, measurable strategies that turn those early philosophies into reliable systems for success.
And that leaves us with a question for you. Hill encouraged everyone to figure out what a rich life really meant to them. So knowing what we know now, the question isn't just about what you can conceive and believe. It's about how you're going to apply the modern science of high performance to go out and actually build it.